It looks like we're on air.
We're live.
Are we live? Yeah.
I think so.
All right. What are we talking about?
What do you mean?
Hell,
What are we talking about?
I think we're talking about Hell's Canyon. Tell us all about this T-shirt.
Oh, I've worn this before, haven't I?
I think maybe not. Maybe not.
I couldn't hear you. You were very quiet.
Oh shoot! I may have moved the mic away. How is this?
Okay.
Is this better?
It's better.
Okay, I can turn it up.
Still a little quiet, but that's fine. I mean, maybe I can turn up my volume. Well, my volume is all the way maxed.
Yeah. Is this any better?
A little bit better, yeah.
All right.
It is a lot noisier than it usually is in there.
Could be the angle of the microphone.
Like there's a power washer inside your apartment.
Maybe. The air conditioner's off, so it shouldn't be that. Yeah, it could be
Okay.
this. Oh shoot! I will have.
No, it's never been like this before.
Never
Oh, don't we
been
have a noise thing here on this? Oh, what just happened?
better.
Well, sort of. I mean, the noise went away, and so did you.
Oh, am I gone?
You're still sort of there, but it's very quiet. Say something now.
No.
Now you, no.
I'll be right back. Sketch
Okay.
recording. Sorry, folks. I'll be right back.
Okay. You'll be right back. Are you leaving? There you go. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. I'm not sure if anyone's here. Like no one's here. Am I actually live? It's a good question. I see menu. Oh. It doesn't look like we are in fact live. Ah, edit video.
Okay. Is this any better?
You're very quiet, but there's no noise.
Oh no, and this is pretty noisy, right?
Pretty noisy.
Pretty noisy. Okay. I think we'll maybe have to try.
We'll
something
just
else.
deal with it.
It's working, which is good. I think the main mistake I made there was touching the settings while we were broadcasting, which didn't seem to be a good idea.
It is very hard to hear you.
It's still really hard to hear me. What if I
There you go. That's better.
I'll just need the microphone the entire episode.
Just get a little rubber band to hold your mouth to the mic.
Just like this, like a bag.
Well, it wasn't just you that had a problem though.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I had a problem as well because I forgot to. For some reason, this was set up as unlisted,
Unlisted video.
and so nobody could see it.
All right.
Now people can see it, and therefore we get our first comment. Hello, Laszlo.
Oh, there we go. Howdy, Laszlo.
Moments after realizing, oh, it's not public.
Oh, it all worked. Yeah, I got a lot going on today.
You do?
I'm wearing a beautiful shirt just for you. I don't know if you can read that.
Love is the thing.
Yes, with an F. Very, very important.
Like thing the app.
More like, I think, thing as in the British way of saying thing,
Hmm.
because the band is British. I'm pretty sure.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know the app thing?
Thing
I'm
is like a kind of network management tool.
Absolutely, yeah, but it's a super deep cut. I'm surprised you knew that, and I do like this shirt because I do actually like things. I think
Okay. No, I mean um I feel like I've I've had it on my phone and iPad for probably 10 years. I mean, I've always had it on my machine.
that is fantastic. Do you use it for the same reason I do? It's just like discover things on a network.
Yes, usually my network.
Yeah, usually, but
Yeah, because
excellent.
actually finding out the like the machine name and MAC address and IP address is easier on Thing than it is through the Omada control panel.
It's easier than a few things. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's actually fantastic, especially when you want to get like the MAC address and the host name at
yeah,
the same time. Yeah, that is hilarious. All right,
yeah.
there we go. So, folks in the chat, Fing FING is this networking app that I think changed gears or changed directions a couple of times through the years, but is pretty handy if you want to do like a quick survey of stuff that's on your network. All right, we got some love from India and Italy. Excellent. The shots are definitely working this week. Fantastic.
So it is this app.
All right, yeah, we can do a whole screen
Yeah,
share.
we can go.
Mhm.
Is it on Android as well, or is it just iOS?
My understanding is it is on Android,
Hmm,
though I think at first it was not. Yeah, it is on Android.
okay.
I think I found it when I was a Samsung user back in the day. Yeah. And listen, it's not going to win awards for looks or anything like that.
No,
It's got a
no.
cool icon and it's pretty fast.
Yes. I can never find. Oh, developer website. There we go.
Yeah, sorry, Lahiri. I'm working on some problems with my mic here as we're talking. So I'm trying to fix it. My apologies. But if it's too low or too, I don't know, grating or something like that, just let me know and I'll see if I can adjust it.
Yeah. Usually I can see some show camera switcher window. No, show. There's like a window where I can camera effects. Maybe it is, and I can go in here and turn on. No, not camera. Let's try. Is there an audio thing? Sound levels? No, that's not it. Sound effects? I don't think is the right answer.
Sound effects. That's what we need.
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that was
that kind of thing.
it is low. Yeah, I'll try to turn it up on my apologies without having noise somehow. That's magic.
I feel like there was a setting I could like turn on noise reduction on yours.
Ooh, yeah, that's what I'm trying to find on my end. Oh, there's no inserts. That's why. I see what's going on here. Oh, shoot. Okay, one sec. I'll quickly add an insert and hope for that. Yeah, watch as I turn on the Manly preamp.
Hmm.
Right, folks. So, what have you been up to aside from audio stuff?
No, nothing. Oh, did you just fix something?
Yeah, I may have. Is this much better?
It is so much better.
Yeah, sorry.
What did you
So what
do?
happened? All my plugins. I'm using air quotes here. All my plugins were turned off on this input. I don't know why. I
Okay.
recently upgraded OSs or something like that. So maybe that's what happened. Sorry.
Mm,
So the noise floor was set to 0 instead of, I don't know what it is. It's pretty loud here. But yeah,
right.
hopefully this is better.
Much better.
Sorry, folks.
So much better.
Lahari, is it better?
Oh my goodness.
I will say that I'm using the mic pre because I was lazy and it was the first on the list. So I started a 14-day trial. I gotta say, and this is like yet another kind of like out there fourth wall behind the scenes kind of thing, but the fact that you can just preview some of these plugins and use them
Yeah.
live for a little bit with
Yeah.
UAD
Yeah.
honestly gives me so much goodwill. And I know
Yeah.
that's kind of like the freemium open source sort of model that I'm like really not a fan of normally. but I really do like this. I
Yeah.
I would love if they were open source or something like that, 'cause I'd have even more goodwill for them. But I
Right.
love having these quote unquote hardware things that you can
Yep.
put in a device as a DSP and activate it for 14 days. It's fantastic.
I am sure they have gotten like an extra $800 for plugins I bought because I could try them out.
Yeah, it's so silly.
Like, I
So
don't need this, but oh my God, it sounds so much better. And then
yeah,
I don't use half the
like
things
Harry,
I
I'd
bought.
pay $200 for this just for you because we made you happy in the chat. I'm glad to hear it's crystal clear. I apologize for
Yeah.
the confusion there.
Man, that was bad.
Yeah, it can be, honestly. So, full disclosure, the ceiling in this room is like 2 stories high, and it
Yeah.
seems to just collect noise. And the mic, normally, if you just point at the ceiling like this or like this way, it shouldn't catch anything.
Right.
You probably heard a beep as I turned off my NAS, so I was trying to figure out if that was the
Right.
problem. Like, there's a lot going on in this room. There's three
Yep.
NAS systems as well as like an AC and et cetera, et cetera. So it gets pretty bad pretty quickly. To sort of rope this into AI a little bit, I've been wanting to try the what is it called? NVIDIA Crystal Clear Audio or whatever it's called.
Mm.
But I'm on a Mac, which is
Yeah.
bad, and you can pay the subscription thing for like the
Oh, really?
web-based version. But I'm just not in. I don't want to send my
Yeah.
audio out to the web and then like
Yeah.
rebroadcast it from there or
Yeah.
anything like that. I'd really rather do it locally.
Yeah.
But yeah, this yeah, they
Yeah.
they
Because you
probably
need an NVIDIA card, right?
yeah, and like I don't know about PCIe is one
Yeah.
thing, so you can do like Thunderbolt to PCIe, and then there's drivers on top of that. But yeah,
Mm.
it's not the end of the world. No, don't worry, like Harry. It's not that much. I was just teasing. Generally, they're on sale, and you can get some of these things for like $37, at least Canadian. It's probably
Right.
even cheaper in the US. 37 is a weird number, so it's probably 25 US dollars. But seriously, they're pretty cheap. We're not sponsored or anything like
Yeah.
that. Matt and I just happen to have the same audio interface, which is really, really handy to use. And I
Yes.
just wish really that a lot more software was like this. I guess that's where the rant is coming from. Is that like I just want
Ooh,
easy to use,
I don't
entertaining
know.
software.
I mean, yes, I love the fact that the plugins are, you can try them out and then you can buy them.
Yeah,
But I don't like the fact that I've spent, I mean, $1,600 on this audio interface. And yeah, okay, it came with some
yeah,
plugins, great.
yeah.
But anything else, fork up the extra money.
I think. What do I say here? Like my opinions don't represent my employers. However, let me tell you a quick story about like numerous outages I've had where I've brought in like a observability vendor or something like that just to like look at what the heck is going on. Like Fing is one of those things. Like I land on a network, I want to figure out what's going on. Like name a monitoring app kind of thing. If you don't know what's going on in the environment, sometimes it's good to like have a look around, see what's going on, perhaps during an outage, that kind of thing. I feel like you have to have the platform, obviously, the
Right.
UAD, Solo, or what have you to get there. But I feel like being able to test that out and buy it is bad for you, but it's great for the company, right? Being able to like test it out, see that it works, get like a workflow going on, and then like move from there. I think it's phenomenal, but I totally understand. Why is Matt not reacting to the chat? I think because Matt was maybe sweating a little bit. We started the podcast. What do we call this? A cold open? And normally it's okay.
Well, yeah, and your audio was so bad, and we were focused on that for so long that I didn't notice that we were broadcasting, but it was unlisted, so nobody could actually find it. Um, and yeah,
Yeah, so
now it's
day
better.
to day, what I use is called the UAD Apollo Solo. I think is the name of it over Thunderbolt. You can get USB versions and stuff like that. But and Matt, I think is
I
on
have the
part of the
UAD Apollo Twin X Quad,
quads.
so the
More,
four
more,
DSPs.
yeah, more
Not that I
more
need
use.
four. I didn't because I mean this is one of the problems with I mean I guess a similar problem with like a MacBook. You can't go in and change things. You can't update. And so it's a fairly expensive thing.
Right.
So do I need the 4X4? Do I need I don't know. I don't know what they're for and they don't really provide unless you know, you don't know. It's like,
Right.
well, okay, let me just get the I mean, I don't know how much more the quad was over the
Probably,
regular
yeah, not that much more. When I
not
was looking at like,
much.
the ones that were DSP differentiated,
Right.
not too bad, yeah. But that is like the Arrested Development argue, right? Like, oh, because we might need it,
You might need
we have
and
to
with a
demonstrate.
Mac, for a long time, I mean, the more memory you get and the more disk you get, the more longevity you get with for that
It
Mac.
seems like it. Yeah.
Um, if you get the bare bones machine, well, okay, it might work great. It might be you might be really happy with it for 2, 3 years.
Yeah.
But if you get bump up the memory and the disk, then you're probably going to be happy with it for 8, 9, 10 years. I mean, I've
Right.
got Macs that are 2010, 2011. They're still running perfectly fine. They're not doing the latest AI stuff, but it's doing what it did still. So, but I bumped up I mean, like on on that MacBook Pro that I have on my main machine, it's, well, okay, I didn't buy it. Olama bought it, but still, it was 64 gigs of RAM, which is the most memory you could get at the
Right.
time, and 4 TB, which was the most disk you could get at the
That's
time.
pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good.
And
I'm
it's a
trying not to laugh
max.
here, but remember back in the day, you could just like download more RAM. Do
Yeah.
you remember those like what they call that? I think RAM doubler or something like that?
Right. Like from Q QMEM or something like that.
Yeah, and what's funny is Apple's doing something very similar to that anyway. They've got like that compressed memory that they talk about, which is why they got away with selling 8 GB devices for so long.
Right.
But I'm also laughing because there's a bit of I told you so in here because when I bought my studio, I got it with 32 gigabytes of memory, which is a lot of memory for what I was using, and a lot of memory,
Hmm.
honestly, for like at least back in the day, Gen AI stuff. So that's what I was primarily using
Right.
that video memory for, or that shared memory for. I have been like I've been watching to see if there's going to be an M4 Studio because I do want more memory.
Yeah.
I could at least use 64 gigs,
You
if
got to
not
get more.
128.
I mean, if you can scrape enough together. I mean, yeah. So some people
It's not cheap.
it's an
Really
expensive
not cheap.
machine,
Yeah.
but if you can get, I mean, you are giving yourself so many more years of use if you can bump it up. Right now, the max is 196 gigs of RAM, which is
And I'm already out of disk.
mind-boggling.
Yeah, the disk is full as well,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
stupid, but it's
exactly.
true.
And
Yeah.
some people will skimp out on disk and get an external disk, which it's never worth it. It's
Which I did do.
never worth it.
And like that's a good thing, but you should also have more internal disks. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
having external disks is good as like a local
Sure, as
backup
a
on your
sort of
laptop.
backup, yeah.
Yeah, as like a one stage.
Yeah.
But yes, apologies. It feels like you're right. I realize that gives you like a bad feeling. Maybe the ego will swell a little bit. But yes, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lahiri is talking about MacBook Pro M3.
M3, I assume.
Yeah,
Pro 18. Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean that's for the 8 billion parameter models, 7 billion.
yeah.
Even there's a few that are like probably the Mistral Small, which is 22, probably will work on that. Um,
I've been
512 gig
for the
storage
small
is
models.
tough,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean just a few models, and I mean, well, yeah, the OS and just a few models, and you're out.
You're
So you've
pretty
got to
close.
use some external storage. So I mean, but it's a great machine, and you'll be happy with it for I would say easy. I mean, until you realize you want to go to bigger models, or until you realize you want to do other whatever you want to do with whatever you do,
Right.
then I mean, you or somebody in your family is going to be very happy with that machine for 10 years.
I've noticed that as well. It's like even though my needs are quite high, like
Yeah,
compared to my family, they're astronomical. So
yeah,
when they get hand-me-downs, they
yeah,
do last
yeah,
10 years, which is like unheard
yeah.
of. Yeah, which is fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
zero.
I feel like we let somebody have a MacBook Pro that I had, and they just upgraded to a new machine just in the last like couple months, and it was a 2006.
Oh wow.
And I mean, it was still going great for their use case for browsing the web, doing the things that most regular humans do. Oh, it just got noisy.
Noisy back?
Was that you or me?
It's probably me.
No, it's
Sorry.
definitely you.
Oh shoot.
Did the trial end?
Is it better now?
Yeah,
Oh man. Yeah, maybe.
you got like 20
I
minute
might have.
trial.
I'm gonna close this. No, I may have clicked it by mistake. Is it
Oh,
better now?
okay. Yeah, it's a lot
I've
better.
moved this window. Yes.
Move your fingers away from the mouse.
The hands will not touch the computer,
Yeah.
otherwise Harry will come for me. Amazing.
So
Yeah.
regarding the question, I mean, I think we've kind of covered. My daily driver is a MacBook Pro. I don't know what year it is, but it's an M1 Max, uh, with 64 gigs RAM, with 4 terabyte disk. Those are all the specs that are important.
Hmm.
And it's a 16-inch MacBook Pro. But then this machine that I'm actually doing the stream from is a base model M1 Mac Mini. So the first generation,
Yep.
M1, the bottom CPU, so the not Max or Pro, with 8 gigs, and I think with 250, it was 256 or 512, whatever was the base disk space, for like $500, and that's what I do all my streams from, and it's perfect. And then there's a daily drivers, 2011 MacBook Pro in the corner. No, sorry, not MacBook, Mac Mini, 2011 Mac Mini, that's running Proxmox and a
Ooh,
bunch of VMs on it, and an iMac upstairs that is,
that's a lot of daily drivers.
yeah. Well,
Do you have
that's
a
my
computer in
really
every
my
room?
wife's. And then there's a couple of other small machines running Kubernetes and other stuff,
Fair enough.
Docker.
Oh yeah, another one checking in. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Like
Yeah,
those Mac Pros were
yeah,
not cheap.
yeah.
I saw one the other day actually at a photographer's house, and then shortly after that, got an exciting trip to the Apple Store where I finally got to see in the flesh the Apple Vision Pro, which is,
Oh,
it's way smaller than I thought.
oh, really?
Honestly, yeah, it doesn't look that bad. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't pick it up. I probably should have. I think I got a little bit shy. It was really busy in there.
yeah.
Also, it felt like I don't know. I'm kind of touching my fingertips here. I'm not touching the computer, I promise. But like, just sort of greasy. Like everything I
Oh,
touched
yeah,
in that because it was busy, and
yeah,
I can't wipe things down between touches.
yeah,
But like some of the stuff was kind of slimy,
yeah.
just not good. I was touching the XDR display, and it felt like they hadn't wiped it down or something like that. But boy, is it ever
I
nice.
I haven't been to an Apple store since the Vision Pro came out, so I haven't seen one. I mean,
Yep.
I think I've seen them on people walking. I mean, I've actually seen people walking down the street with them on when
Oh,
I was in San Francisco,
I mean, of
because
course.
there's stupid people like that there.
Well, I reserve judgment, but yes.
They're
Definitely would run
ridiculous.
through my head as well.
Yeah.
They aren't that much. I think deep is what I'm talking about. As deep
Hmm.
as ski goggles. They kind of feel like ski
Right.
goggles in terms of size.
Right.
I was
Okay.
surprised. I thought they'd be
Yeah.
much larger
Yeah.
than ski goggles, but they're
Yeah.
not that bad. I say this as somebody who's looking at like I guess the Ray Bans are kind of interesting to me now, as well as I'm not sure if you saw that uh, Meta announcement
Yeah.
about their new
The
glasses.
glasses that aren't available for like
It
two
may not
years.
be available, yeah, until
Yeah,
next year.
those are the first ones I thought. Well, okay, those all. I mean, they're
Right?
chunky, but they look kind
And
of
they're really
good.
just
I
yeah,
could see wearing those.
yeah, and it's like, I see that you're like a couple years off here, and the ones she was using were clear, which I thought were
Yeah.
really cool actually.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and Mark was saying that like, yeah, you're not gonna be able to see these at all, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. He's like, not only are these like what do you like test devices, but it's super special in the test device area
Yeah.
too. It's like,
Yeah.
I want the
Yeah.
clear
That's the one
vibe
that looks
glasses.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I really like being able to see the inside, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah. Some complaints in the chat about Apple RAM speed and Max. I'm not gonna touch that one because I believe that's still in development because the M4 is coming out too, and they're talking about like some new increased memory bus, possibly. I don't know.
Mhm.
I agree. There's confusing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
but
don't
I really
understand. I
judgment
mean,
because
with
like
with
I don't get that.
models, M3 is definitely a little bit faster than M1,
Right.
but not a huge amount faster.
Yeah, in terms of memory
So,
speed,
I mean,
and I
upgrading, if you're doing AI stuff and you have an M1, there hasn't been a reason to upgrade yet. Maybe with M4? Mm.
maybe. Yeah. And I think I'm on the M3 Ultra, and it is like I have zero complaints about the CPU.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah,
it is so fast. It's
yeah,
ridiculous. It's purely just how much memory it has access
yeah,
to. Not a problem in Lightroom, not a problem in
yeah,
Photoshop. So things I actually do like outside of
yeah,
work for fun. But definitely on the Gen AI side, it could use more
yeah.
memory, unfortunately, or
Yeah,
maybe open more tabs. I don't
and
know.
so the Mac event is October, what, like coming up in a few next week or?
I think it's either next week or the one after. I'll just pull it up just to make sure. But yeah, I think it's next week. I still don't see the date here. October 15th or 14th, but possibly 28th or 29th. So I guess
Yeah.
there's no actual. Yeah, it could be in two
Mm.
weeks or it could be in 3 or 4. Coming up. I'm looking forward to the M4, but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely willing to see if there's any other upgrades in like Vision Pro or perhaps on the Studio. There's a few things. I,
Yeah,
I may have
if
said M3 Ultra. Was that wrong? Is it M3
you
Pro
said,
or M3 Max?
yeah, I mean, isn't the Studio, doesn't it have the M3 Ultra?
I thought it was. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the right name.
maybe not. Maybe it's
Mac
Max.
Studio.
it is pretty sweet.
M2 Max, M2 Max and M2 Ultra, not M3.
Oh, there we go. There we go. My apologies. Ignore me, folks. I'm still learning the new model names, obviously.
Yeah.
So listen, there has been some news in the world of Gen AI since we last spoke. I think there was 3.2. Did we talk about that last week?
I don't think we did.
Okay. Big thing for me is the fact that it's multimodal. I think is like the big. You know, anything other than that, like what? Because I know people are saying that it's a lot better, but honestly, it seems kind of the same in terms of the questions I gave it. Did you run it through the paces? Because
So
I like.
I the larger models that are multimodal aren't available on Olama yet.
Oh, gotcha.
Turns out it's been a lot harder than they expected, and so they're still working on it. And there have been some folks that have made the model available, and those reviews haven't been positive yet. It seems to
Oh,
be, uh,
interesting.
but the answers that were given, like Matt Berman, is it? Yeah. Uh, it felt like the answers he got weren't really related to the question. I mean, they were censored, but they weren't. So it feels like the implementation that he was using is really what's at fault there rather than. I haven't seen a good review of the model itself. I feel like the problems mostly pointed to however somebody got it up and running and made it
Mhm.
available, that's where the problem exists. Maybe, but we don't know yet. It's still early. But for the models that are available on Olama, which is the 1 billion and 3 billion,
Mhm.
it is very comparable to Llama 3.1, but it's at 1 billion and 3 billion, which means it's so much faster. Like on my M1 Max, I'm getting 140, 150 tokens per second. Like
Whoa.
mind-blowingly fast, and in depending on what you're doing, sometimes as good as 318 billion. So
Wow.
it's very impressive. Now, not everything. There's some
I
things
used
that
like
are
the worst website, and it's probably fake or something like that. It's like llama AI dot online or something
uh-huh.
that has like a couple of the models that you can load.
Right,
Because the ones on Hugging Face that I found were quantized.
right.
Um, I don't know, neither here nor there. But I gave it a
Yeah.
quick test, like why is the sky blue, why is water wet, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. I didn't notice any difference in terms of speed or anything like that.
It's
But
it's
again,
just
they're
so
yeah.
much faster. And so
Okay,
I've got
okay,
a video coming out today. I just got to finish it. Finish the edits.
just got to
Is
do the work.
I just got to like write it from scratch. Easy. But it's coming out today, and it's about using. It's part of the Olama course. So it's been doing a video each week, and but this one's looking at searching, web searching, and then bring those web search results into
Cool.
Olama, and then coming up with an answer. And I'm using, and the answers are I'll say tell me about Mexico's new president because Mexico just elected their first female president. I think first.
So recent. Yep.
Yeah, and so recent news, and tell me about the dock workers strike, which is starting today.
Okay.
And so very recent news, and it gave me good answers, and I was using 1 billion, and the answers were fantastic. So yeah,
And what are you using for the agent to pull in the web stuff?
I'm using searching,
Okay.
SEARXNG,
Gotcha.
and that works amazingly well.
Very
Um,
cool.
so
That,
I
that the
from
fact that
yeah.
we can do like your own agentic plus model, like this is, I realize that people don't understand, but this seems to me like agentic actually seems like an inflection point, like a true difference in what we can do. The fact that you can pull down, because I think Lahiri was saying earlier that they're a professional data scraper. That's what they do. So they
Hmm.
grab a bunch of data on a regular basis. Now, to me, like, and I'm not a professional. I've definitely only
Hmm.
done like just the beginning, but I've certainly populated CSVs, TSVs. I've used
Hmm.
Excel for web scraping, like web scraping, all types of just awful,
Right.
awful workflows. And honestly, being able to like, I won't say teach, but being able to being able to do, like instruct a model to pull things down from the web and put them in a certain format is
Right.
incredibly useful for me because
Right.
that was code that I would have to patch multiple times daily just to make it work on stuff that I was pulling down. Like it was a huge, huge mess.
Yep.
That
the
to me is kind of
the
crazy.
challenge for the video I'm putting out and the code I'm putting out is you know with searching you could pull up the 10 most relevant URLs. That's easy. And now you've got these URLs. Now you need to get the content from the URL. So you download the full content, and
Hmm.
it's like filled with garbage, like garbage that makes it look pretty on the page. But I don't need pretty. I just need the text.
Right.
And so how do I go from pretty to just the text? And that's actually it was hard at first. I ended up just doing. You don't want to send all the text to the model because it's just confusing. It's like,
Yeah.
well, here's this little needle in the middle
Exactly.
of good stuff. And so I ended up using a library called Cheerio.
Oh,
And with Cheerio, um, let's go to Cheerio
I'm pulling it up.
dot js dot something
Cheerio.js? Yeah, Cheerio.js/Cheerio.
Cheerio.js.org. So I ended up using this, and then just you can load up the all the HTML into a Cheerio object, and then you can say, well, go ahead and remove all the image tags, the script tags, the
Oh,
SVG tags, all the stuff that I don't care about for giving to a model to answer this question. And so get rid of all that cruft. Give me
yeah.
just the text,
In jQuery style, that'd be
and
amazing.
and
Yeah.
it's super quick. There's also a model available, Reading LM.
Okay.
But with Reading LM, it also does a pretty good job. But you're waiting for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds for each blog post or each article,
Hmm.
whereas this process takes you know 100 milliseconds
Oh,
to
good.
run.
Yeah, big
So
difference.
it's you finish all of the articles in a quarter of the time that it takes for the Reading LM to do one.
Yeah. Sometimes it makes more sense to like shift right? Like put more stuff into
Yeah,
your code than to like put into the model.
yeah.
I think that totally makes sense because like your tokenization is always going to be slower than something you
Hmm.
can do in memory. I think one thing that you're saying there that's interesting to me is like the fact that you're how do I say this? Like I don't want to get into like observability or anything like that, but like when you're looking at the process that it's taking and the amount of time taken can be just handled by code. I think that's like a clear. It's maybe it's a maturity model or a maturity level, but like when you
Right.
know this and you understand like the trade offs, that's when you start looking at the code. Now there were a couple of questions in the chat just talking about like getting started. So sorry folks, like this this is definitely not like a beginner podcast. We try
Yeah.
to be friendly, but what I will say, and something that Matt's mentioned a few times, I've not actually joined, but there is a Discord server
Yes.
for Olama that is probably the best place to like get support from others because a lot of your questions are like good here and there, but when you're talking about getting started, that kind of stuff, for me at least, having a network of people that I can like get
Right.
help from or even just watch them ask questions is very valuable for me, essentially, because they could be talking about problems that I'm going to have next, or maybe like next, or even, like a year or two down the road. I'm not even there yet, but I'll remember those conversations and we'll be able
Mhm.
to come back to it. I feel like in something as nascent or emerging or new as this, it's often better to find a cohort that's like other people to sort of figure it out together. I
Yep.
feel like that really helps. My person obviously is Matt. That's why we talk to each other, because I feel like when I don't talk to Matt, I feel like I'm falling behind. So it's easier for me to hop on this podcast and chat with him. And if that helps you, great. But if it's too advanced, I definitely say finding a network is good. Discord's kind of a good place for this. But there are Reddits. If you're more of like a reader, there are definitely subreddits that are dedicated to Olama that could help as well.
So if I were not signed up to the Discord, I would go to, well, what was the address I put in? I put in discord.gg/Olama.
Oh, there you go.
Um, and then that takes you to this page. You enter in your display name. There's no need for anything else. You click continue, and you open up Discord to the Olama Discord.
Yeah, and
So
that
that's
sign
the
up
best
process
place
is
to
like
go.
that's like a second to none sign up process. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I actually do enjoy the Discord. Like, let's just get you started. Don't bore us. Get to the chorus, as one of
Hmm.
my coworkers would say. But like, just get them in there and chat. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
Now does
most people are pretty. I mean, there's always the crufty ones that like, you don't
I
know
would say
anything. I mean, but
pretty
they're
pretty.
for the
Yeah,
most part, everybody is super friendly.
yeah, yeah. It seems like a pretty
And the
good
two
group.
people that like are mostly the moderators, they don't work for Olama, but they are always there. I don't know. I
Group,
don't
like group.
understand why they're always there, but they're always there, and they're always answering questions. So
Yeah, and then there were a couple questions in here about the command line stuff. Listen, I will say, and this is just me speaking from the bottom of my heart, the sooner you embrace the command line, the less scared you'll be of it. Like, honestly,
yeah.
it's probably better just to get used to it. I realize that it's kind of alien, that sort of thing, but honestly, for me, that was life changing. And we're talking back in 1998,
Hmm.
1999, is when I finally decided to learn other command lines as someone who kind of knew DOS prior to that. But I will say, like, it does really, really help. Especially, it's going to seem alien at first, but after a while, as you get used to it, the black screen with the white text won't scare you. You can
So
even make it look
it's yeah. It seems that there's a few people having problems installing. Generally, the best there's
running.
all sorts of
Yeah,
package managers packages that folks in the community have created, and
that's true.
it's great. But those are community supported. It's not part of the Alama project. The only ways to install officially to like guarantee that it works all the time is to use the installers that are on olama.com. So that's there's a install program for Windows and one for Mac, and then there's the install script for Linux. Not often, sometimes I've noticed that the apt package and the brew package and the I feel like some others
Edited.
break. They break every now and then there's so many people complain in the Discord is like, "Oh, Olama's broken." Well, it's not. It's this package, and whoever's maintaining it needs to update it.
Yes.
So the best bet is to always install, unless you know what you're doing and you really have a good reason. Don't use those other packages. Use the kind of the official installer, and then once you use that, the Olama server is always going to be running in the background. No need to start it up or stop it, and it doesn't takes minuscule resources. So there's not a reason to take it down. Um, and it's not opening ports or everything stays local. It never reaches out unless you do an Olama pull. Um, so that's your best bet. And then you open up the command line, run Olama, run whatever, and it just works. So whenever I see people having problems, well, it's not running, or it's running and my models are gone, well, it's because it was running in the service before, and now you've run it from the command line, Olama serve from the command line, and it's
Right.
looking at different places. And so don't deal with Olama serve in most cases, unless you really know what you're doing. Just rely on that default install, and that's it.
That's pretty good
Um,
advice.
um, And to learn more, there's this amazing YouTuber named Matt Williams who does amazing videos, and you'll learn everything about Ollama from those videos.
Yeah, it feels like maybe the void here is like you had a getting started video, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
an upper to dated, up to dated. How do we say
Yeah,
this?
it's
More,
probably
it's not even that old. Like
yeah,
3 months,
yeah.
but like a more up to date, or like what to do when things go wrong after install or something like that. Something like that.
Right. So, I mean, looking at my chat, I have to. Oh, this is live. Um. So, oh, this is
I
just
feel like that's what's needed. Like if
videos.
you're on Windows, here's the
Um.
line argument that you get around. But I think when it installs on Windows, I think there's a double clicker, if I
So there's a
recall.
getting started with Ollama from 2 months back, and installing Ollama in more
Yeah,
detail. And it's
and then you
also two
gotta.
months back.
I think you gotta address the Windows users. It sounds like.
No, both of those talk about it on Mac, Windows, and Linux.
No, no, no. You gotta typo squat this thing. Like getting started with Olama on Windows.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah,
And
I'll
listen,
upload the same
as
video
somebody
3 times.
yes. Sorry for laughing. Now
Yeah,
I see my mic volume come up. But like honestly, as somebody who's typo squatted that kind of stuff in the
yeah,
past, it's honestly handy, and the people looking for that specifically
yeah.
will find it, which is what it sounds like happening here. What, but also, quick pause. The fact that we're talking about Olama users on Windows, honestly, this is kind of cool because at one point in
Yeah.
time, Olama didn't run on Windows. So I
Right.
think the fact that we've kind of hit maybe not mainstream, but we're kind of getting, and I say we as like a group of people interested in like open source and AI are getting into the more mainstream where Windows users who may not be aware of how to run this are trying to figure out how to do it, or after they've run it once they want to get back to it. Fantastic. This is like
Yeah.
this is a good point to be in. I think we're kind of breaking out of that mold of, you had to be on Linux, you had to blah 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 blah, it had to be on Mac at first,
Yep.
and you had to use command line, a bunch of that stuff. So we're getting to a point now where yeah, it's the adoption is getting
Yep.
there, which is fantastic. Okay, yes, some other chat that's I'm really in the comments. For this week, I've got a super random video to recommend that I will put in the chat. Uh, but I'll explain the concept for you because it won't take too long. So basically, this is the video is about how to get yourself out of a photography rut, or any rut. And what I mean by rut is like you feel like you're uninspired. Maybe you're trying to figure out a new software project, that kind of thing, and you can't come up with ideas. The thing that's interesting about this concept, which is called Ichigo, Ichie, is basically just a way to say, like, hey, even though things may seem the same to you, they may not be. It's a different day, you're a different person. Even if you're hanging out with the same person, or in this case, serving tea to the same person, this is a different situation. And I think what they're trying to say by this is like the practice kind of portion of this is what's going to make it like when you do have that idea, or if you've got like a small idea, you can start teasing it out. But the goal here is that perhaps coming up with a new project weekly or monthly or daily, it's up to you, your frequency, will allow you to flex that muscle. And when it comes down to the time where you've got the idea, you'll be able to do it. Or chances are, as you're doing this on a regular basis, when you have ideas, you'll be able to flesh them out, which is fantastic. So, again, I believe the YouTube video stole this from a video called Chanoaji. It's like The Taste of Tea, which is a really good movie. But they boiled it down into one lesson, which is Ichigo Ichie. So like one day, different mood kind of thing, or one day, one meeting. Um, Definitely worth watching. I really feel like this concept is pretty handy for people philosophically to think about things that they may feel like are boring, but that boredom actually means that you're just used to it, and definitely tease that out to use for creativity. So that's my little bit of Japanese philosophy for the week. Hopefully that's useful to someone other than me. Perhaps not. Yeah, then we get some politics in the chat. I will say that I'm not
I
gonna, as a Canadian, I'm not gonna
yeah.
touch any of this
I'm
stuff. Just gonna say that. Like I have
I'm not going to
no,
answer the last one. Yeah.
not my circus.
I think based on comments we've made in general, probably know where we lie. But
Probably, maybe not.
yeah. Um.
I have no horse in any of these races.
All right. Hey, I did something today. I
Uh oh.
felt like I should get it in there before we
Did you go
stop.
for a run?
No, no.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
Well, but sort of, almost. I went to a
Almost.
gym.
Eh, Dude, that's awesome. I thought you were gonna say something like that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
is awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you look energized, I guess is why I assumed it was a run. But yeah, you
oh
look
yeah,
like you
okay,
get some
yeah.
sparks. Yeah.
I'm definitely not sore, but tired, like all over. We signed up
I know that
for
feeling.
personal training together. Me and Tony together, working with a
Awesome.
personal trainer, and so we've got
Awesome.
10 sessions to go, and 9 sessions to go.
I'm so
Um,
proud of you. I should do
and
the same, honestly. I'm
and it's
terrible in the winter.
yeah. I We used to do something in Boston. So we used to live in Boston,
Right.
and Datadog had a like deal with two clubs. One was I can't remember what the fancy one was, but then there was Boston Sports Club, which went through a bankruptcy and all sorts of ugliness. But there was the other one. Oh, it was like much fancier. Uh, anyway, it's where all the better looking people went. But they had older machines and less of them. And anyway, but um, it was still. This one is more of almost like the CrossFit kind of thing, but like a mixture between CrossFit and like a regular gym. So it
Yeah.
seems like a lot better. Um,
CrossFit's interesting to me because it seems like somewhat practical. I mean, listen, I'm
yes,
not going to be
this
picking up
one
really
was
big tires,
also a
but
lot more practical. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, we're not flipping tires, but
right.
at least I didn't see the tires. Maybe.
Oh, you would notice they're massive tires.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'm
Were
not
there
at
like
that
little
level yet.
ropes? The ropes are the other
The
thing.
ropes, yeah. There were no ropes. Um, but yeah, so it could be fun.
That is really cool. That is
So,
awesome. I met a personal trainer just randomly recently as well, and they were telling me all about the stuff that they do, and I'm like, yeah, maybe it's time. I don't know,
mhm.
because you always tell that story. I think it was from Microsoft, I guess, where they had that
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
program. And I guess the thought in my mind is like, if this is something you really want to do, you could probably make your own program or like pay
sure,
somebody to come
absolutely,
up with the program for me, right? Like,
right.
this is possible. That's really cool. Have you watched anything or purchased anything that we should know of? I will say, Bad Monkey, I did watch the entire thing, and
Except
Vince
you can't
Vaughn.
have watched this entire thing because there's another episode tomorrow.
Oh, is it? It's still ongoing? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it
well,
felt like a final finale. I mean, the way,
hold up. I fell asleep at the very end of the episode, so that's why I don't know it was it's all over. So I do have to rewatch the quote unquote ending, which obviously
yeah,
wasn't the ending. But I've watched. I'm up to date. I guess I'll
yeah,
say, and I'm still not a fan of Vince Vaughn, but I will say the dry humor is
yeah.
kind of growing on me.
I think
it's
it's a fun show. I've
it,
enjoyed the whole thing.
it totally is. And again, I don't know what it is with the writing. Maybe it's after the strike, but I'm finding the writing in some of these shows is getting way better. Maybe my
Mm,
standards are getting lowered, but okay. So there's two things. The writing is one, and the delivery on Bad Monkey is
mm,
like it's snappy. It's
yeah,
really it kind of
yeah,
feels like one of those shows from like the 30s or the 40s in America where like things are
right,
really yeah you see like just really fast. I just it's amazing.
yeah.
I definitely got to watch it. But yeah, what have you been up to? What have you been purchasing, watching? Let me
No
know.
purchases.
Someone asked if
And
you're still using Arc. Are you still using the Arc
I
browser?
am using Arc.
Okay.
My one fancy new purchase. I
Oh.
haven't even opened it yet.
Oh. Oh.
We can do an unbox. I've opened it, but I haven't really
Ooh,
done it.
live unboxing. Holy moly. Oh, it's
This is
ASMR.
super exciting.
What is that? Thermometer?
It is.
Hygrometer? What
I
is
don't
it?
even
It
know
looks
how
like
to
a
open it yet.
thermometer.
It is it's a sensor. It's a 5-in-1 sensor that you put in your pool, and it
Okay.
recognizes salt levels, pH, temperature, and two other things. Alkalinity? No, I don't know. Some other
Alkalinity.
stuff. I'm
Basicness.
not sure what it is. It's pH, salt, TDS. I don't know what TDS is. EC. I don't know what that is. And temp.
All right.
So,
Fantastic. Now,
so I'm very excited.
is it internet enabled or is it offline?
No, that I was looking for anything that I could get the
Yeah.
metrics out. I did not see that as an option.
Obviously, I'm thinking of wacky integrations.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I can
Absolutely.
pop it on the
As
internet.
somebody who is a big fan of Home Assistant and all those
Right.
types of things, absolutely. but
Right.
no, I couldn't.
Not that I'd need it, but I love seeing stuff on graphs. It's just the way I
Yeah.
am. I have another just random question for you. Sorry, I should have asked this earlier, but do you wear your Apple Watch as you sleep, or some sleep tracking device?
No, I do not.
Okay. I asked because I had a friend who was getting fitted for what do you call it? A CPAP device.
Mm.
And I'd heard somehow that Apple can measure your sleep tracking fairly
Yep.
well. I just don't wear mine at night very often.
So
I noticed that I had once in a while, and I looked at
yeah,
those graphs. Have you seen those graphs?
yeah,
They've
I
invented
have.
a graph type. What is that graph type? What are those like sliding bars connected by pasta? What? I don't even know how to
Were
explain
they
it.
like candlesticks or
Yeah, it looks like a candlestick chart, but it's got
hmm, but
vector
a
lines between
pasta?
them that connect them that look like some sort of weird melty pasta or cheese. Maybe
Okay,
cheese is what I'm thinking of is like
okay.
stringy cheese coming between pieces of pizza.
Hmm.
I've never seen this graph
I don't
type
know.
before.
But my mother is that is the thing that my mother is most excited about. So
The
I
CPAP
don't
or
use.
sleep
Well,
testing.
no, not CPAC specifically, but she does wear. She charges her watch at some point during the day, and then she puts it back on
Right,
to go to sleep.
right,
And because she has been very interested in how much is she sleeping. I mean, she's 85 years old.
right.
How is she? She thinks she's sleeping pretty well, but she thinks she wakes up at a certain time, and
Mhm.
now she's able to see exactly when she falls asleep and when she wakes up, and she's like, ah, yes, that I do remember that. And just so that she can have that that conversation with her doctor about, oh well, I've slept 7 hours a night every night for the last week, except for this night, well, last night, and I'm very anxious today, and that's the reason. So,
Yeah,
so it's been extremely helpful for her.
right.
So helpful that I keep wanting to do it, but I just need to need to tune my notifications because notifications come in. It's like, oh, I'm up now.
Oh,
So I just need to sleep mode, I think, is the thing.
yeah, I wonder if I can say it. Well, I'll say it anyway because we're on the podcast. But what I do is say, "Hey Siri, turn on Do Not Disturb," and it will do it
Right.
actually on your watch, which is fantastic. And then
Well,
like
and
nothing.
I think sleep mode will do that. But if somebody calls you twice, I think it bypasses, or
Oh, that's
I
kind
just
of
need to
handy.
tweak it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, just in case
Um,
I'll call you twice.
but but yeah, it would be a good thing to start tracking that, I think.
Yeah, I feel like when I was talking to my friend, I feel like there are things that I do that I know that I do that are dumb, such as I have a glass of water before going to bed and generally wake up around 3 a.m. in order to go to the washroom. So
Yeah.
perhaps I could skip the water, or maybe I could prove
Right.
this. I don't know what sort of signal I need to tell my brain, like, hey, you probably don't need this water before going to
Right.
bed,
Right.
that kind of thing. Or perhaps you could have a sip instead of the whole glass.
Start wearing Depends.
I mean, listen, I'm getting older, so
um,
the adult diaper time is fast approaching. And
I,
then we had one nerd snipe here about keyboards. I'm not sure if you saw
I
that, but
saw that.
I
So
I will come clean and say I'm still using the Japanese JIS Mac keyboard personally to make it easy for those in the chat. Matt, I
I
think has something completely different.
I have. I
Oh,
mean, I'm using that right here.
here we
So
go.
that's the regular the one with the touch.
I do not have the
Um,
touch. Yeah, touch ID.
so which is amazing for this for where I stream from. Over here. Um, plug
Oh,
this
look at that
guy.
keyboard. So the one with the rainbow effects.
Yes.
Very cool.
So I've just unplugged it, so it's not. But this is my daily driver.
This
I love this thing. This
Hacker
is
man.
this is the
Hacker man
Voyager
shows audience keyboard.
the Voyager from ErgoDocs.
Fantastic.
Um, I, I got this as soon as it became available. It's
That's
amazing.
gorgeous, by the way. I've
It's
never
great.
seen you like hold it up like that. It looks
Yeah,
really neat.
it's
Yes,
really
so
really cool. And then this comes off and this comes off, and it comes with a little bag, and it just slides in there, and it's
yeah, it's almost the same size as this. It's that it's just foldable.
yeah
Very cool.
yeah.
Or
So that's
folded.
amazing.
Very cool.
Um, I uh, I had the this is the ErgoDocs plank that I used to use before that. It's got various. I I use a different keyboard layout, so it's got different bits of glue on here to show me where the home row is.
Yep, makes sense.
Um, and then I had the Ergodox EZ, which was their first Kickstarter. And then, but
Weren't you
then
Moonlander for a bit as well, or no?
the
That was
Moonlander. Yep, I had the Moonlander. I have the Moonlander as well.
ZSA. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the same company.
Oh, gotcha.
And then I use the keyboard on the MacBook Pro. I like it. It's pretty good. Um, I much prefer the keyboard that was on the MacBook Pro between
Yeah, you like
like
the earliest design,
2016 to
right?
2018
Yeah,
or whatever. The
right. The
that
one that
was
everyone
amazing.
complained about. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Some people complained
I
about.
mean,
I
they
don't
complained that the
understand.
cap came off and stuff like that, but yeah, the feel was pretty
But
good.
the older I mean the older keyboard and the newer keyboard than that, I always had problems with dust under the keyboard, and so I'd lose access to one of the keys.
I
And
will
that,
say they were a bit more
which was
mushy
the
now.
main complaint of the
Right,
keyboard that I liked,
right.
but I never experienced that problem. But that one was the one that felt more like what I love about the Voyager. That kind of mechanical but
Mm-hmm.
flat. Um,
Flat enough, yeah.
Amazing.
I've got one more to show just because it's off screen, but it's got a. This is kind of my pride of joy. I don't know if this will. Now this is all GMK.
Okay.
Is the issue. So for those in the chat who don't understand how expensive keyboards can be, that's the 3 key sets in there, and each
Yeah.
of them is like 300 at least Canadian dollars. It's got to be
Yeah.
at least 250 US. It's like so expensive,
Yeah.
and you end up with way more keys than you need just to get like the colors that you want. It's
Right.
awful, but they
So
do feel really good.
one of the nice things about
Those are chalk, right? Like the small.
yeah, they are. So one
Yeah.
of the nice things about this keyboard is that it also came with a book, like of alternate keys,
Oh, nice.
like all fit into. It almost like felt like I don't know about what it was like in Canada, but in the U.S., there were banks would encourage kids to open their savings account, and so they
Yep.
had these like books where you could put little quarters in, and then you could
Yes.
turn in the whole book of quarters, and that added $5 to your savings account.
Positive my first bank account, which
Yeah,
I still have, by the way. It was
yeah,
exactly the same. Yes.
and so it
It was like
felt
a
like
reverse advent calendar kind of thing that
yeah,
opened up. You
exactly.
put your yeah, yeah.
It felt like that.
Very,
A book. Hold on, I have to go get this because I
he's
think I
gonna
know where
find
it
it.
is.
While he's out there, I can show you one more keyboard. I apologize. Whoever did this, Lahari, you've nerd sniped us here. We love keyboards. So this is the Top Ray. It's a little bit modified here, but I've got 2 again keycap sets. So the black one, and then some of the modifiers in there as well. But also JAS key set. I like that a lot.
Bummer, can't find it.
Oh, we can't find it. Shoot.
But it was a nice setup.
In the chat, we got. I bought a mechanical keyboard for $25, and some of the keys stopped working.
Yes.
It does happen. Now what you're describing sounds like a matrix issue. Typically, it's just like some water got in there and killed one of the diodes or something like that. I think it's diodes, but yeah, that's generally what happens when they're in like a valve, like a.
So this is another magic thing for me.
What do you got here?
This is.
Nice. Yeah, we got it. It's focused.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
So this is amazing. This is from a company called Work Louder,
That's cool. Is
and
it like?
it it is a
Oh, it's not too bad.
it is a mechanical keyboard, but it's the chalk switches,
Oh yeah, they do look pretty low profile.
and
Now,
they're
what about the rotary encoder?
so there's a
The
rotary, which
oh,
also clicks in, and then there's this one,
yes.
which also clicks in. And
Interesting.
so for me, this is JKL for going forward and backward in a timeline.
Yep.
And then this one is the blade key, so I can cut. And
These are
then
Final Cut Pro terms, I think.
Final Cut Pro, yeah. So or Premiere is kind of the same
Right.
thing. And then I have one very easily to add a marker. Take the currently selected clip, speed it up by 200%, and drop the volume by about 10 decibels.
Like B-roll kind of.
Well,
Gotcha.
actually, sometimes I'll say something, I'll read the script, and I get to the end of a sentence, and then I have like a breath, and sometimes the breath is caught, and
Gotcha.
sometimes it just it takes me an extra second to get to the next
To
sentence.
reset. Yeah, I gotcha.
And so I will cut at the end of the last sentence and at the beginning of the first sentence, make it 200% faster, drop the volume. That gets rid of the breathing in. And it's like a cut, except I'm not right here in one scene
Yeah,
and then
sure.
over here in the next where there's this big jump.
Or
Instead,
like the background changed
there's a
completely.
smooth you can see me move to the right and you don't
Very cool.
notice it's 200% faster. So that's great.
I like that.
Um, and then what else is there? Just generally being able to move faster or slower. And I think this is for deleting that clip. And there's a few other things. And then this is for zooming in and zooming out on the timeline.
Nice.
Um, and this is to select the current clip.
I
So
like it.
this is I can go for a 10-minute long clip to get rid of the ums and uhs and the not that there's many of those because I read from a script, but to get rid of the mistakes and everything else for a 10-minute long clip, I can do it in usually about 6 minutes
And
and down to the first edit.
is it the Creator Micro?
This is the Creator Micro, yeah.
Okay, I mean I don't have an affiliate code or anything like that, but there you go. It's in the
It's
chat.
fantastic.
It does look really cool. I may be already looking at this. It's not that expensive
Yeah.
either. This is how you get me. All right, should we call it
Well,
there
then
before I buy
there's
more keyboards?
also another one
No,
that just
it's not done.
came out is the
Big. Oh, okay.
Logitech MX Creator or something. It's
Yes, I
got
have.
kind of like a Stream Deck with 9
Yeah.
buttons and the dial, which looks pretty interesting, but it's Premiere Pro only.
Oh,
So it's
interesting.
just
Yeah, see,
Adobe for now. They say they're gonna add more support, but and then
that's an
and then there
MX
was
Creator console or Creative console.
yeah, and then one
And then
other
there's the Nook Deck.
there
I
was
don't
a
know if you
Stream
saw that one.
Deck that just released their kind of studio version,
Hmm?
which is rack mountable. So it's a rack mount. So if you have like all your, monitors and stuff in a rack, and then you have all the buttons, there's like 40 buttons in there. But what's interesting about that is that it is released in combination with Stream Deck and Bitsoft. And
I saw that.
Bitsoft makes
Yeah,
Companion, which is
right.
an alternate piece of software to run Stream Deck. So my Stream Decks are all run by Companion on Raspberry Pis that are separate from my machine.
Mhm. This is also we got to stop talking. This is also really interesting to me. This is awful. Okay, let's get off the horn here. We're
Okay,
gonna start
I feel like
making people.
there was another question.
There
Just
was.
well, there's
Trying to
the
ignore.
which AI models you use, mostly GPT. Almost purely Olama, and then I use mostly if I have to use an online one, it's going to be Claude, and I access that through Raycast. And then I feel like there was one other just a little bit before.
And I'm 3.1 uncensored in GPT-4. Don't tell anybody. Shh.
Like cloning from GitHub. Okay.
Yeah, I think we got the GitHub one.
Like Linux. Close my player. Trump kissing his daughter.
Yeah, don't
Um.
even.
Yeah, I guess. What's the cheapest way to fine tune model on cloud, or should you use your own machine? So there are a number of um, Jupyter notebooks that you can use with Colab. They're all kind of not kind of. They are all super fiddly,
Mm-hmm.
and annoying. Um, if you have a Mac, well, now you have a MacBook, so I would suggest taking a look at MLX, and so that you can run on your machine. It's mind-blowingly easier than anything. I mean, the alternative on like if you have got an NVIDIA or AMD card is using Unsloth, but MLX is just so much easier than dealing with Unsloth. And then, but if you want something that kind of does it all for you, then if you use anything LLM, I think anywhere LLM, I think it's the name of it, any something. They have a fine tuning option, and basically you provide the questions and answers that you're going to fine tune based on, and actually a lot of that can come from the history that you've asked the model questions, and so they will start from there, and then you upload it to this service. You have to sign up for an account. I think the cost is like $250 to do the full compute. It's done in like 10 minutes. And so it's really fast. You get access to some really powerful machines, and you get it done really quickly. And so that is probably the cheapest that I have seen that kind of does it for you. It's definitely, I mean, it depends on what your time is worth. I think that's probably the, it, about, again, it depends on what your time's worth. So I think a lot of people will go for that because it is so easy, and they've made it look it looks really easy. I don't know what it's actually like.
I happen to have done a little bit of research on this last week.
Oh yeah,
There is a good video from the AI World's Fair, which is old at this point in time. They're slowly releasing the videos. The one I'm fine tuning got released, I think, over the weekend. Probably worth a watch. It may already be up, like, out of date because they keep slowly
Mhm.
releasing them. I guess they want people to pay for the conference.
Mm.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
But this video is pretty good. It covered a lot of what Matt said, as well as some of the things that you may see that you should not use that are, one, way too expensive or way too
Mm.
slow, or both,
Yeah.
as well as really hacky ways of like putting like a model on top of itself multiple times, up to 10 times, to
Hmm.
make new models that are surprisingly effective. Anyway, worth a watch. But yeah, I do have a hard stop, unfortunately, so I
Oh,
gotta
I'm
run.
sorry.
This is phenomenal. No worries whatsoever. We got a lot of questions in the last minute. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for the participation in chat. Really appreciate
So as long as you had a hard stop, let me continue for another 20 minutes.
it. Okay, I really gotta go.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Thanks so much for the comments. They were amazing. And yeah, bye.
glad, glad we fixed the audio. Have a good one,
Yeah,
folks.
me too. Ready. End.